Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. Got big news. It's out of Yahoo, but it's actually spreading like wildfire over the news wire. It is about Jerome Powell. It is about real estate. It is literally exactly what I've been warning you about for 2 years. 2 years ago, 2 Junes ago actually, I started talking about commercial real estate and how it was going to implode and it was going to take the entire real estate sector down, but also take the banking system down. That is correct. It is way more than what happened with FTX. When I warned about the banking crash starting in the first quarter, when I warned about it last October, let me know down if you guys remember me saying that. I just did a compilation video that didn't get a lot of views actually, going back showing the times that I warned about this crisis. Well, now Jerome Powell, and I've told you before, said it multiple times in the last month, we are in the eye of the storm with the greatest banking crisis since the crash of 1929. We're already in the greatest money withdrawal crisis in our banking system since the crash of 1929, but we are in that eye of the storm, all right? Now, this is the story out of Yahoo. Check this out. It really tells the tale, and yes, I'll put that link below. I handed out those extra 80% off because people wanted to get the real estate crash course. They want to start getting ready for this. This is the time. I cannot get over what is going on right now. All right. Also, if you bought the real estate crash course, there's a special announcement. Go to the course. I released a new lesson. I don't know what, 4 days ago. But there's a new special announcement on there that's only going to be running for the next 5 to 6, maybe 7 days, and then it's gone. So please go and check that out. I got to let you know about something that I just did. All right. Jerome Powell just admitted that some banks are in trouble with their commercial real estate holdings. We do expect that there will be losses. Now, this is coming from the head of the Federal Reserve. Remember, they always tell you the truth, but they say it really quietly. But this news story is getting out and it's getting a lot of press, so I wanted to get it to you right away. After announcing its first pause on interest rates, or the rate hikes, since March of last year, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell told reporters that he is keeping an eye on commercial real estate and watching the situation as it pertains to the banking system, quote unquote, very carefully. Now, I want to remind you, this is how they do it. They try and stay really calm, really monotone as they're saying it. They are telling you that everything is crashing down around them. And even though they are pausing rate hikes, I don't even know how to explain it any better. Their rate hikes are causing this collapse in commercial real estate. They definitely know it. There's no sugarcoating this. The fact is, these mortgages are crashing right now because in the commercial sector, not only are they facing headwinds with lack of good qualified employees because they're taking flight and they're figuring out the real meaning of life and they're just jamming, but also they're dealing with these empty office buildings, employees that want to work away from the office, right? They want some freedom. They've gotten a taste of freedom, ironically, during the lockdowns of 2020, 2021, and they're living life anew. I meet so many of you that are starting new businesses, starting even just teaching the side hustle course. I'll put a link to that one too because I did a sale on that one. But there are people that I just heard of another person the other day that went to their garage sale and to raise money for their first business, they came up with $4,000 of extra cash just selling stuff that they don't use in their garage, and they're out starting a new business. It makes me so excited to hear that kind of stuff. And that's what commercial real estate's dealing with. They're dealing with that stuff. These employees are hard to grab, it's hard to hold on to in their offices, and they're dealing with these office buildings that are literally vacant, and now they're having to refinance them at much, much higher rates, and they cannot deal with that. So Jerome Powell knows that he is literally in charge of this entire collapse, and he's telling you really quietly, it is imploding right before your eyes. So even though rate hikes have paused, he's telling you the real estate commercial mortgage industry is literally imploding right now. And that is so big, so massive, it is going to terrorize the residential real estate market. And I've already told you guys recently, foreclosures are on the uptick. And from what I learned yesterday from a foreclosure expert that owns an auction company that takes care of most of the West Coast, he's been doing it for over 40 years. The stuff I learned yesterday, I'm not joking, my mouth was dropped. This is some exciting times. Now, let's get back to the story. This is a quote from Jerome. There is a substantial amount of commercial real estate in the banking system. A large part of it is in smaller banks. Remember, I told you, this is exactly why the real estate, the CMBS loans, the commercial mortgage-backed securities that these regional banks are holding is what's taking them down. And that is the one asset class, when you notice Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic Bank, and more, when the FDIC moved in, to take over and to split off their assets, it's the one asset class that all the banks did not want to touch. Okay, this is cancerous. This is worse than the MBS or mortgage-backed securities crisis of the Great Recession, leading up to it. All right, this is very serious. Now you have the Federal Reserve Chairman saying very quietly, this is it. I was the only person on the internet warning people about this 2 years ago. Crashes and real estate cycles, wealth cycles, take a long time to go from peak to trough and then from trough to peak, which means you have lots of time to prepare. But it almost seems like overnight it happens to those that are unprepared because it just blindly smacks you in the face. Now, I've told you this and I'll tell you this again before, I'll tell you it again. By this fall, you will see massive disruptions in the regional banking system. You will see more banks crashing, you will see tons of unemployment, and you will see all kinds of crazy stuff. We have multiple cycles converging, especially what we're dealing with right now with this go woke, go broke crap. There are companies that are going to announce literally how much money they lost in June alone because you have decided to vote with your money. And I couldn't be more proud of you. I'm not joking. This is the time to stand up, hold your head up high and say the lions are waking up and they're starting to roar. And this is exciting. He's telling you right now, there's a substantial amount of commercial real estate in the banking system, a large part of it in the smaller banks. Powell told reporters on Wednesday, to the extent that it's well distributed, then the system could take losses. We do expect that there will be losses, but there will be banks that have concentrations and those banks will experience larger losses. So we're well aware of that. We're monitoring it carefully. He is literally telling you that he is expecting banks to collapse, certain banks. And I'm telling you right now, you are going to see fireworks in the fall. That's when it happens. Estimates surrounding how much commercial real estate debt is concentrated within small banks varies, but Goldman Sachs previously suggested that lenders with less than $250 billion in assets account for roughly 80% of the commercial real estate loans. All right, it's a big deal. That means your regional banks, the small banks, are going to collapse this fall going into the winter, and you are going to see a consolidation that you have not seen since the Great Depression. This is scary stuff. Why? Because if all of the power and all the assets go from the small banks, regional banks, to the large banks, we are screwed because it is going to be so much easier for the Federal Reserve to push around monetary policy and have the banks, the individual banks in America not have any say. Okay? This is very, very scary. This is why we need to take our wealth, put it back, and look, I'm just going to talk about what I'm doing. I'm not a financial professional. I'm supposed to say that, right? My bank account would dictate, or what I've done in my past would dictate that I probably know what's going on, but I'm not legally allowed to say that. I can't give you financial advice. All I can tell you is what I'm doing. I want to go back to constitutional money. We're never going to go to a gold standard. It's never going to work, but we can retain the wealth of the nation by getting out of debt, staying out of debt, getting into inflation hedges like central banks around the world are doing, like buying gold. Wealthy people buying gold as insurance, right? To preserve that wealth so that as everything collapses around us, we, the middle class of America, retain the wealth. That's what's important. And I'm telling you, I don't think there has ever been a greater time in history to be part of a revolution. And this is a monetary revolution. Yes, Bitcoin also plays into that. Certain decentralized cryptocurrencies, they do. But I'm telling you right now, there are so many derivatives attached to that they could implode during a price during a stock market correction. People need to understand that. Every single time there's a stock market correction, since crypto has been out, it takes a hit, okay? So you have to realize that. Gold also takes a hit. But the thing is about gold, there's physical gold as opposed to what's going on in the derivatives market, the paper markets. As they implode and go down in price, you go to a physical gold and try and look at what it costs to buy it, and the premiums shoot up and it equalizes, right? Because of panic. We've seen that over the last 2 years. They've just recently mellowed out. But this is very, very important. Look, Jerome Powell just told you, real estate's about to take a hit, but it's not the real estate, it's the banks, which he's monitoring. This is gonna get real. Guys, I hope you got something out of this. The Economic Ninja is out.